Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome you to today's program, the Stanford Seed Mentorship Program. My name is Daniel Kumianani, and I'll be your moderator today. Now, let's zoom in straight to our event. We have Mr. Carl Richards, who is the Executive Chairman of African Concrete Products and the Vice President of the Stanford Seed Transformation Network Ghana, will give us the opening remarks.
On behalf of our President, as we commence the Stanford Seed Network Mentorship Program, I'm particularly happy to see these enthusiastic young men and women who are willing to add value to their lives and enhance their skills. It's a good indicator of positive things to come. In line with our vision of transforming local companies and paving the way for others to follow, we are again providing this opportunity for students and young people to learn hands-on from our CEOs and benefit from their experiential knowledge. The mentorship program provides learning, networking, mentoring, and internship opportunities for participants. Last year, 20 participants were selected to have internships with the various SSTN Ghana companies. I'm happy to tell you that those interns have made great progress in their career paths, as some have moved on to secure jobs, national service positions, or even with the very companies of this network. Today, we are here for the second edition of the Stanford Seed Mentorship Program. Various business leaders are here with you when we'll take you through selected and relevant topics that will shape your mindsets and help you in your personal life journeys, including the world of work. We are all here to support your career and entrepreneurial goals, so we encourage you to take advantage and of all the opportunities that are going to come with this program. Let me also extend my deepest appreciation to all the SSTN Ghana members, especially those members, companies who are accepting the selected interns from this program. So with that, I wish you all the best. The program is open. Thank you very much.
As any student who has walked through the halls of this noble school can agree with me, Happy Kids School, an institution like no other, is a great symbol of excellence. From the nurturing of young minds to the grooming of today's leaders, it simply can't be imagined how impactful my educational journey from preschool to junior high school has been. Having tasted gold myself, I can testify that discipline as well as high moral standards are our hallmarks. Students who pass through Happy Kids School are assured of being diligent, assertive, creative, productive, and achieve total academic excellence. We are also nurtured morally to be God-fearing. I am Anefi Martin Alfred, a final year student of Happy Kids School and the winner of the Literacy Challenge 2021 held by CTFM.
You're welcome from the short commercial break. Now we will have our first presentation from Mr. William Hall. He will present on developing the right attitude and skill set for entrepreneurship and career. Mr. William Ham is a highly sought architect who designs and builds. He is famous for developing creative and amazing buildings without compromising on the needed functionality. He brings his over 10 years experience in architecture and urban design and his personal drive for innovation and breaking the status quo into every project he undertakes. As the CEO and principal architect of Spectra Global Limited, he is passionate about sustainable solutions that deliver value to his clients. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome Mr. William Ham.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure of mine to be here and to share a few thoughts with you on developing the right attitude and the skill set for entrepreneurship and career development. I trust that our time together will be very useful, and you would enjoy and learn something, most importantly, for life. In every part of everybody's life, there comes what we call life-changing movements. And I believe that this today is one of those life-changing moments for you, wherever you are watching us from. And so take a notepad, take your iPad, take whatever you use to take some notes, and let's go on this journey together. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. So the foremost question that all of us are looking at is, everybody is either in a career or is doing something on their own as an entrepreneur. And there's so much teaching on success, developing yourself, and sometimes in the myriad of a lot of stuff, if you're not careful, distilling the right information becomes challenging. And so most of us find ourselves either we have chosen a career path in the corporate world, or we are embarking upon the entrepreneurship journey, which is choosing a business path that you want to follow. The question we want to answer, the question we want to answer this morning is, how do I get to the top of my career? What skill set do I need? What attitudes do I need? Or how do I succeed as an entrepreneur? And there are basic things that you can learn. You know, success is not something that happens by chance. Success is something that is achieved through steps that can be learned and executed. And so if you see somebody who is succeeding at something and you can follow the steps the person takes to get there, you can also get there. And I'll start by saying that the first thing is you have to plan. It is said that even if you don't plan, you've already planned to fail. So you either plan or you plan. You don't have a choice. You don't have a way out. Even if you don't plan, you have planned, but you have planned to fail. But let me just take us back a little bit. For those of us who are still trying to decide what career path we should take, usually you want to think about what your interests are, or what your training has been, or what your natural abilities have been. And towards that, you want to create a career path in line with those interests or with the training. So for example, if you trained in the university and or in any tertiary institution, and let's say your training is in design, I'm a designer, then you want to perhaps create a career path or pursue a career path in design. If you did something in engineering, then you want to create or pursue a career path in engineering. Or you can choose something which also comes naturally easy for you. If you are naturally good with people, then you want to be in the space of managing people. And if you are also an entrepreneur, then you want to look at what kind of problem is there and I want to solve. Or what venture am I entering into? And that gives you a clear focus. Remember that we are in a knowledge age. There's so much knowledge available that if you are not clear and you just follow everything, you will not get anywhere. So one, you have to have a plan of what you are trying to do, whether you are going to a career in the corporate field or you are jumping into business to become an entrepreneur. What career path are you choosing, or what venture? Now, to be able to succeed, you need two things. One, a set of skills, and two, the right attitude. And this is what we are going to dissect. The first thing I would say, and what I'm telling you is that I'm not going to give you book definitions and things. I don't think we are here for book definitions. If you are here for book definitions, you can go online and read. But I'm giving you practical steps. Some of them I have practiced myself. And for those of us who are still in school, those of us who have just finished school, the key thing, I call internship the silent rocket or the quiet rocket fuel. Internship, internship, internship. You know, back in the day when I was in school, in the university, a lot of people would would travel to outside the country. We used to call them small boy. You go and do small boy, go and wash some plates, get some pounds and dollars in your pocket, come to school and flex a bit. But I guarantee you, internship is the rocket fuel. Find a place in your industry and do an internship. Because internship offers you hands-on practical learning and training. You know, when you go to school, you get a certificate. I'm an employer. If you come to me with a BSc, MSc, PhD in any field, this is how I interpret it, and this is how every employer interprets it. Good. You have learned about this field. Now, put it into practice and let's see whether what you have learned you can actually deliver. So it's good to have degrees, but it's also important to practice what you've learned, to gain knowledge and test your knowledge. Because sometimes even in our institution, some of the knowledge we've learned in the fast-paced world, by the time you learn the knowledge and you come to industry, the knowledge has passed away. Because technology is making everything very fast. So you want to have internship, hands-on practical training. Internship gives you exposure. And I like to put in little stories. When I finished school, I joined a firm. And even before I finished school, doing my national service or doing what else I was in school, every vacation I'll go to a firm and work. And those days were not paid. Sometimes internship is unpaid. Don't worry about that. What is important is that you are getting experience. Internship offers you experience. By the time I was in my 5th year in the university, I took on a project, a live project. I designed a 500-bed hostel in the University of Cape Coast. Today it has been built. I did that when I was a student because I developed that capacity and even the boldness to take on that project because I was doing internships and doing every vacation. And so I had a lot of practical knowledge. So I want to say that internship, do not underrate internship. It's a key. It gives you practical training. It gives you experience. It gives you exposure. It gives you exposure, right? So internship is the number one key thing. Remember, I'm giving you key nuggets. I'm not here to do definitions and stuff. Now, during your internship, you learn and develop your technical skills. You know, when you start your career or when you start even a business or you start from life as a young person, the first set of skills you will develop is a technical skill. Because when you join an organization as someone who is fresh from school, you don't join as a manager. You join as a staff, as a workforce. And as a workforce on the operations team, you must have technical skills and you must be sharp with your technical skills. And you must be at the cutting edge of technology. If you are young and you join any organization, technology is on your side. Technology is your favorite uncle. When you join an organization, the big guys, the leaders, the guys, technology is not on their side. They are old. You are young. You have technology on your side. You make yourself relevant with technology. So you must understand your technical skills and develop yourselves with the technologies that come with that skill. Then you grow to analytical skills. In the real world, you solve real problems. Analytical skills mean you have to be able to identify problems, come up with options, propose and make a theory based on your analysis, and your statement of result must be in sequence with your analysis, and you should be able to solve the problem or attempt to solve it. And if it doesn't work, you try another one. So internships gives you the opportunity to also sharpen your analytical skills. Some of these things you may never learn in your tertiary institution. And then also in the workplace during internship, you learn people skills. You know, no matter what you do in the whole world, no matter the field you are in, you cannot avoid people. You would interface with people. So people skills is very, very, very important. How to work with people. The second thing I'll talk about is mentorship. And I call mentorship, it helps you to not make useless mistakes. Find a mentor in your field if you're in a career. And most likely, some of us are so much in a hurry to run over the place. If you're already working, find a mentor already in the organization. Look for somebody who is at a place in the organization where you want to get to. And try and warm up to the person and let the person become a mentor to you. Right? So find a mentor either in your particular area. Even if the person is out of your organization and you know the person, go to the person. But you see, mentors, people are very busy, they are working. So you develop a relationship with your mentor, you have to be going to him. Sometimes you can do extra work for your mentor. I remember when I was in school, I was doing work for my one of my lecturers, who's my mentor. I did work for him for free. And by the time I finished school, he was giving me employment. The next thing I'll talk about is attitude. Listen, we've all heard this thing that attitude is everything, right? It has become a cliche. But attitude is the character ethic for success. The first attitude I want to talk about is humility. You see, some of the things you read is about, oh, go and get their goals. Yes, it's good. But the Bible even tells us that even God, who is perfect, who is all loving, the Bible says that God is love. Even God opposes proud people. How much more human beings who have mistakes, who are not God? Humility is one of the greatest attitudes you can develop to be able to exceed or excel in your career and in business. The readiness to learn. You see, when you are humble, you are always ready to learn because you know you don't know everything. Humility. The next thing I want to talk about is the right work ethic. If you go to any employer and talk to him, they will tell you that these days, the youth of today, they don't have the right work ethic. First thing, timeliness. Timeliness to everything. Be on time. Deliver on time. 2, collaboration. The right work ethic. When you are young, you are dependent. And as you are growing, you learn to be independent. When you grow up and you work, you realize that independence is not enough. You are in a world of interdependence. You need to collaborate with people to get work done. Sometimes the information you need, if only you want to sit down and do it all by yourself, it will take you a very long time. You miss your deadline. You need to learn how to collaborate with people. The next thing is that you must learn to be solution-minded and result-oriented. Don't beat about the bush. Always ask yourself, what is the result that I need to give? What is the result? And take responsibility. People like blaming others for failures. Even when you are in a group, work in a group as if you are the only one who is supposed to be responsible for the results. Collaborate with everybody, but putting effort as though you are the one responsible. And the last thing about work ethic is goal setting. If you don't have a goal, anything will take you anywhere. So have a goal. Have a goal of where you want to be. If you are trying to do a business, have a goal. Where do I want the business to be? If you are trying to do your career, where do you want to be? The next thing I want to talk about is patient endurance. Sometimes we are in a world that everything is fast-paced, right? Don't quit. Learn to endure. Learn to build muscle. Sometimes we fail because we don't spend enough time in what we are doing. We are too quick to leave it. You need to learn to have grit, to surmount problems. That is the character we are looking for in the workplace. And then the thing I want to talk about is learning and growth. Having a hunger for learning and growth. Listen, you are not the repository of all knowledge. You must learn consistently. When you were a child and you were in school, your parents or our parents were the ones that were giving us the fuel to do what we are doing. Exams acts upon us. School acts upon us. So you realize when people are in school, they are doing well. Many people after school, they plateau. Why? Because there's no external force pushing them. It is your hunger for growth that will propel you when there's no external force pushing you. So you must read in your field. Be at the top of your field. Find new opportunities if you're an entrepreneur. Benchmark to somebody above you and push yourself till you get there. When you get there, find another person above you and push yourself. Act upon yourself. Do not wait for circumstances to act upon you. It will be too late for you. And then, finally, I want to talk about integrity. You need to be morally upright. Integrity is your sure-footedness in the workplace, in your career, in business. Sometimes integrity is a very long road. But if you have integrity, you will last. You will last in the system. You will last in the career. You will last in business. Remember, in life, there's an iron law. An iron law. The Bible says it. Other religions say it. It's an iron law. Everything has a cause and an effect. Seed time and harvest. You reap what you sow. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. These are being said in different ways. Integrity, whatever you do, you will get the consequent result. So in the workplace, in developing your career, in developing your business, or growing yourself as an entrepreneur, have integrity. Have integrity. Because with these key thoughts that I'm sharing with you, very simple nuggets, ask yourself some few questions. How am I faring in the workplace? How am I faring as a business entrepreneur with these key attributes that I'm talking about? I believe if we actually put these things together and we have a goal of working towards these things on a daily basis, not too many things, one step at a time. Some of us are too much in a hurry, but you need to have patience, endurance, and you need to have integrity. And I believe that with this, we will succeed in our career. We will succeed as entrepreneurs. And I want to let you know that believe in yourself. You can do it. All things are possible for the one who believes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. William. That's a lot of things packed within some few minutes. So Mr. William will join me here again and take some few questions that we received from participants. So the first question is capital necessary when it comes to career development?
Career development and capital. Well, I would say that it's an important part of everything, capital. And I believe by capital, you're talking about money. However, in developing your career, you don't need money. You don't need money at all. What you need, you actually need to give things for free. You need to learn to work for free sometimes. When you start out your career, anybody will tell you that sometimes they work for free because you need experience. You need to show what you have done. So in business, yes, you may need capital. But in career development in an organization, I don't think you need capital. I think you need a willingness to learn and you need experience. And you need to be ready to work sometimes for free. And you think you are being cheated, but you are not being cheated.
All right. So the next question is, how do I find purpose in my career? How do I find purpose in building my career?
You know, this generation, we think about big things, which is good. When you say, how do I find purpose? Listen, there's a saying that don't chase to be successful. Be excellent, and success will find you. Don't be chasing success. If you chase success, you miss it. Be excellent, and success will find you. Your purpose is what you are doing. Do it well. How do you find your purpose? What you are doing. Do it well, and you become the top, and it will become your purpose. Unless it's something you don't enjoy doing, but if it's something that you enjoy doing and you are committed to it, it's your purpose. Because sometimes there's been a lot of teaching on purpose as if there's only one purpose in life. No human being has only one purpose in life. If you're a human being, if you're a father, you have a purpose to take care of your children. You have a purpose in your career. You have a purpose to even give to the next generation at a certain point in life. So at your career path, at the point where you are taking off with your career is your purpose. Be diligent in it, concentrate on it, be excellent in it. In that, you would find your purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. So we take the last question. The participant is asking that after building the right attitude, how do I venture and develop my ideas into viable businesses?
After
developing the right attitude, how do I develop my ideas into viable businesses?
Okay. If you remember my presentation, I talked about the value of internship and where you learn problem solving and analytical skills. If you have ideas, all you have to do is think it through and take a step of faith. Look, even the best businessmen, the most successful people, there are a lot of things sometimes they've just acted on faith. A chance. You believe in something, you've done something, you have an idea, you think it's worth doing it and worth getting support. Take a step. Put a skin in the game. You yourself start something. You can sit there and think all you want. It will result to nothing. Start it. So you want to put an idea into practice, just go. Start it. And you will be able to know whether the idea is worth it. And once you are going along the way, sometimes also you don't have the whole, you cannot get to see everything before you start. You cannot tell even how your life, exactly where you will get to. You can plan. It's very important to plan. But sometimes you need to take the first step. And as you go along, other things will become clearer towards the goal that you have planned. Towards the goal that you have planned.
Okay, we take the last question. The participant is asking that how do I multitask my talents and dreams? How do I multitask my talents and dreams?
Look, I think that our heads are too much in the air, too much in the cloud. Listen, there was a time that multitasking became a buzz. Today, people are teaching that you must learn to focus, right? How do you multitask your talent and your dream? Okay, so my understanding is that how do you align your talents with your dreams? It's exactly what I said. Whatever you want to do, check it against three things. Check it against your interests, your abilities, and your training. So if you want to take off in a certain career, look, being an entrepreneur or developing a career is hard enough. There will be times that you will feel like quitting. The only thing that keeps you going sometimes is the passion, the love for it, the drive for it, right? So test it against your ideas. Test it against, is it in alignment with what I like doing? There's no use doing taking off on a career path just because it pays more. Everything in the earth, if you do it well, you will get money. Zoom Lion is collecting garbage. 30 years back, nobody thought that was a business that would make money here in Ghana. Today, he's collecting garbage and he's making money. And you see, over time, he's learned to go into recycling and stuff. Anything you do will give you money if you do it well. So take your idea and your dream and check it against your interest. Check it against your training and check it against what you are good at doing. I love design. Anytime I make it a point, any building I see and it's interesting, I'll go inside. Every hotel in Ghana here, I'll go and sleep there for a day or two, or go there, go and take a drink. You know why? I spend the money because I love design. Because it is my interest, it is my passion, and it's the field in which I play. So it's not a bore to spend on it, and sometimes when things become tough, I get still encouraged to keep going. So do something you love, do something you are good at, and do something that maybe you have some training in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. William Helm. That's a lot of things, a lot of takeaways. We are going on a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will have our next presentation.
who has worked through the halls of this noble school can agree with me. Happy Kids School, an institution like no other, is a great symbol of excellence. From the nurturing of young minds to the grooming of today's leaders, it simply can't be imagined how impactful my educational journey from preschool to junior high school has been. Having tasted gold myself, I can testify that discipline as well as high moral standards are our hallmarks. Students who pass through Happy Kids School are assured of being diligent, assertive, creative, productive, and achieve total academic excellence. We are also nurtured morally to be God-fearing. I am Anefi Martin Alfred, a final year student of Happy Kids School and the winner of the Literacy Challenge 2021 held by CTFM.
We are going to have the network manager for Stanford Seed West Africa, Elikem Kome. She is responsible for managing the ongoing engagements with the past participant of the Seed Transformation Program in West Africa. She works closely with elected leadership of the chapters across West Africa to guide programming and activities and promotes key seed benefit to the Transformation Network members, including the internship and consultant programs, and as well as the STP cohort recruitment. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome Madam Elikem Kome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. This morning we're going to do a little bit of an exercise, and I'd like you to relax and absorb it. So can you please awesome. So we'll talk about our aspirations, we'll talk about life, we'll talk about our dreams. I heard someone just ask William about how to multitask your talents and your dreams, and sometimes these buzzwords can actually throw you off. So we'll talk a little bit about it. So relax, grab your cup of coffee, and then let's delve into the session. So basically this session is about your image, how to build a good image of yourself. So just to speak a little bit to that, I'll talk about the brand that I represent, which is Stanford Seed, and which network is bringing you today's package for mentorship. So Stanford Seed is a graduate school of business initiative of Stanford. So what we basically do is to work with entrepreneurs in Africa and South Asia to bring them tools and resources that help them to transform and scale their businesses. So the chapter you're seeing offering you today is a Ghana chapter, which is part of a global network of businesses. And the Ghana chapter has been working with entrepreneurs who are still aiming to get into the big spaces and become global. And at the same time offering the opportunity to young executives, graduates to also come up so that we actually have a pipeline to work with. So this morning, the package you're receiving is actually from really seasoned entrepreneurs who have put this together, and I'm privileged to be part of this morning as a speaker because we know that you take away quite a bit. So after this, we'll go into preparing your image and your positioning, how to communicate that image and the positioning, and how to create a lasting impact. Let's reflect a little bit. We're going to take a quick exercise. Daniel, please drop your number in the chat for everybody to see. And the quick exercise for me is, what do we do most often with our smartphones? Begin to type really fast in the chat for me. What do we do mostly with our smartphones? And when I say something, please make sure that you are working with me at a certain speed so that we can get the most out of this session. What do we do most often with our smartphones? Any comments coming from the chat? Let's be quick about it. What do you do? Like, don't look at anybody's comments, just write. What do you do mostly with your smartphone? Daniel? Go ahead.
Okay, so people are saying that listen to music, WhatsApp, research on designs, watch videos, browse the internet,
Okay.
learn new languages, search for jobs,
Awesome.
prepare reports,
Interesting.
read. Yeah.
Awesome.
Snapchat, WhatsApp, and TikTok.
Nice one. So all of these things could actually work for an entrepreneur or an aspiring executive or not. Okay. The one thing that I thought you'd actually talk about is your selfies. Come on. Were you being sincere, or because you think this is a business platform, you didn't say that? I use my smartphone mostly to do selfies. I mean, when it's my private time. So yes, all the things you listed are great, but in your private moments, which I didn't say, so let's say that was a trick question, you do selfies. You dress up, you do a little makeup, you test the makeup, you do selfies. So now let's take 5 seconds. And this is an actual exercise because Daniel is going to drop his number in the chat and you will send me a selfie. Let's take 5 seconds to take selfies. Please do that. Relax and do it. I'm also going to try one. I don't know what I'm looking like. Thankfully, I think the camera crew has given me a projector that allows me to see myself, but I'll still do a selfie. So I'm very good at doing selfies. So if you watch me, you see that I have a way of doing my selfie, and my phone allows me to just swipe my hand, and then I pose, and I take the selfie. So people see me taking selfies, and they're wondering, what is she doing? But my phone is that kind of smartphone. It detects my palm, so I don't actually now have to be pressing and doing all of that to take a selfie. What that allows me to do is to be ready for the look that I want. Have you finished taking your selfies? Let me know in the chat. If you finished taking your selfies, I want a few of you to volunteer to send your selfies to Daniel on the number he's just provided. WhatsApp the selfie you took. And be bold about it, because I'll tell you why this is important by the time we get to showing your selfie. Don't be shy. It's part of the learning process. Do take the selfie. You saw me do my own. I mean, I can't show you, but if you want, let me try and see if I did a good one this time. I'm not sure it came out well, but yeah, I did. I think my selfie came out not too bad. Okay. So now this is a constructed image because I'm showing you what I preferred to show. And that's what we'll be learning today about image building. All right. Now, think through what your selfie depicts for you. You don't need to tell me that now. But did they respond that they've done their selfies, Daniel? Good. Awesome. So be looking at the picture and then write a few things about what the picture is telling you. So I'm saying to you that my selfie, just so you see I'm also doing the exercise with you, the selfie I took is my playful mode. So I smile, but there are times when I'm actually like very coy and I do what I like, and then the one I like most, we filter and then we post and then we wait for comments, don't we? So that's what we all do, but that's your constructed image of yourself. Now, if you've been able to write a little bit, I'm hoping you're writing as I'm speaking, because I won't be slowing down that much to make sure I catch up with you on the time. Pick the top one of what you thought your image depicts and write it out in the chat. Now, my colleague Kate will support us to read what the chats are saying. So my colleague Kate Selby is in the house. She should look in the chat and she'll tell me what you're doing. In the interim, I'll tell you what I do with my selfies. So sometimes I'm trying to send a message to someone without actually expressing it, but I take the selfie and then I wait. I post it on my status or I post it on Facebook, and then I wait for the person I'm targeting to respond. And I know we all sometimes do that, and sometimes you hear something like, oh, it's cute or this, but sometimes there's a message you're communicating. So a friend of mine and I do that as well. We say, let's post this and see what people are going to say. So we actually do that as our own game. There you go. Awesome. So who's posting this one? Well done. I like it when people are bold. Okay. Who posted this?
Eunice posted. This is Jude.
Okay, awesome. Well done.
This.
Well done, well done, well done. I like that you did. What's the next one? Do you have another one to show me?
Yes. So this is coming from Eunice.
Okay. Keep sending. Daniel is waiting, because at the end of the session, we'll give you feedback about how the image actually communicates. There you go. Nice one. Good. So we'll keep these selfies. And who is this? Daniel, whose selfie is this?
This is Rose.
Rose, nice one. Okay, so all the poses communicate. I'll tell you at the end of the session what they do. Do you want to post the last one and then I'll move into the session?
Yes, the last one is coming.
All right. Do we have it ready?
Yes.
Good. In the interim, have you been typing your chats? Good one there. Nice. And who is our selfie bold person this morning?
He's also Jude.
Dude, awesome. So thank you for posting. Now, have you written your top picks of what your selfie depicts to you in the chat box? Kate, do we have anything? Do we have anything in the chat box of what their images say about them?
Not as yet, Ellie. Still standing by.
All right. So Kate is standing by. Make sure you write what you think your selfie, even if you haven't shared it with us, tell us what you think your selfie talks about. Okay. Now, moving on to this one. I'd ask you a quick question. What do all these people communicate to you? What do you think they have in common? I don't need you to write that now. I just need you to be doing the other one about yourself. But I'll tell you a quick one. So you see the wave. And then I had a little birdie tell me that the lady Samira Baumia actually was in a beauty pageant years ago. Okay? So what is interesting about this image is I knew her when she did the pageant. And the self-image that she's built to this stage tells you that you need to be deliberate. And I'll be going into that. When you look at Michelle Obama, she was her prom queen at the time of her prom. And then the last person you have on my left is Safoa, who was in Ghana's Most Beautiful. Now, what I'd like you to look at is when you create an image, like the selfie you've created today, is it frozen in time, or it's meant to capture a moment that helps you to leverage and use as a stepping stone to somewhere else? And that's what these three women have in common, that they've all been on the stage where they have been seen as beautiful women, and they've been given the accolades for that. Did they freeze in time in this space, or did they move forward? Can I see your comments about that in the chat? Now, this is another thing. When you see the images below, I mean, what you're seeing on your screen, what do they evoke to you? You can type in the chat, or you can just reflect on it and keep it to yourself. Okay, so Kate is ready with someone's comment about his or her selfie.
Okay, Ellie, so we have Nimatu Ibrahim. She says her picture, her selfie, depicts that it's a professional one. Rosie also says that hers depicts her confidence and her beauty.
Awesome.
So we have Jude as well. Jude says his shows that he's focused and ready. So keep them coming through.
Awesome. Nice. So now let's go to our favorites for Vladimir Putin. Our own, what name would you like to give to the man in the middle? Fellow Ghanaians. Okay, but it's the pictures evoke something. And then Obama. Now Obama has a classic smile that comes with his wave, and I'm sure you're asking why I'm choosing the wave. The wave is to tell you that there's a place that you start from and a place you end at, where people now watch you and they project what they think of your image. So none of these pictures are selfies. These pictures are people who have moved from one spot and have finally arrived at a destination where they are in the public eye. And I want you to keep that in focus, that your image will take you to a place where you are in the public eye. Now, the interesting thing about the pictures is when I looked at our favorite person at the bottom, I recognized that the wave did come, but there are different expressions, which is unlike our favorite fellow Ghanaians, who normally has a consistent smile, and you can actually almost gauge when the smile is coming. Okay, so moving on to the next reason. So what does that mean? You have to have an image that you project, and the selfie sometimes now replaces our mirror. So I'd suggest to you that as you strategize, one of the most important things is to see for yourself what is your uniqueness on which you can build an image. What is it that stands out? Because I had a little skit that I wanted to show you of a young lady, but I think Daniel might get it to you later, of a young lady who felt really chic, dressed up in her sunglasses. She had a particular dress. She was going to lead her team. She stepped out of her Uber, walked into the office, feeling very cool about herself. And when she opened the office door, the office cleaner started smiling happily. What had happened? The office cleaner was wearing the exact same dress she had. And the office cleaner said, "Oh, madam, I love this dress of yours. Where did you get yours?" "I got it from the Bend Down Boutique and it was such a good price. I got four, you know." And that was the funny part of it. And the lady fell down. So you have to have something that is unique to you. What is your current image that you have to present? And how do you work on it? Also, your environment also dictates quite a bit. So I always tell people that don't insist that we have to see what you say we should see. Your environment and how you present yourself will tell us what we should see. And if you don't present it properly, we will see what we wish to see. So the other thing I say to people is have a destination. Once you have a view of where you want to get to, craft your image to look like that. And then when people make the wrong impressions, you adjust. Okay, so what I'd like you to take into account is your dress style. Your dress style is important. Now, currently, people dress the way they like. Women's liberation, they say they can wear the things they like. But I ask you, when you walk into a room, what do you want me to focus on? Do you want me to focus on your bare thighs, or you want me to focus on what is in your brain? So it is not so much that you don't have the liberty to dress the way you like. It is what you want me to focus on that you present. So if it is fine for you that as a banker, you dress and you have half of your body showing, when I come and I focus on it, you shouldn't feel pained. Physical posture is important. So as I'm standing here, imagine if I started slouching or started looking like that, you start thinking I'm ill. So your physical posture when you sit, when you are doing presentations or talking to people is quite important. And that's why I say that ladies have a good advantage, because when you wear your high heels, your posture is normally organized properly for you. So we don't just do things without intention. You have to be intentional. Your communication and language skills are quite important. Now, a lot of us have gone through school, and sometimes English is not really ours. Neither is French, or so sometimes you struggle a little bit. Why don't you read? Before you use a word, check it. Make sure you are using the right tenses, because sometimes you fall short of the image you want to create just by using the wrong language and communicating wrong. Your attitude and composure is also quite important. So, because William spoke about these things, the main thing I'll bring here for you is the way you conduct yourself towards others. Respect, taking initiative, being enterprising is going to support either the product you are working on as an entrepreneur or as someone who is a young executive. So when you have something to sell, either as a career person in an organization where you're an employee or as an entrepreneur, the most important thing is that you are consistent, you are committed, and you build a strong sense of integrity. Have an inner sense of purpose, like William said. Okay, so I won't dwell on this. Now, in the workplace, one of the things I like people to know is whether you are doing your own business or not, you are working in an environment, like I said earlier. So you are under pressure to deliver against certain things. One of the lessons I like you to learn is that sexual harassment does happen, bullying does happen, and backbiting does happen. So that is what you have to take care of. And always be careful that when you present your image, you do not communicate the wrong one. So I'll stop here and take your questions, because I have other things that I'll answer to when we speak. Okay, so let's go with the questions.
All right. So someone is asking that does one social life have an impact on the business you are running? Must you look professional in all the time, or just be yourself in the field of your career in business?
All right, so if we can look at the entrepreneur and we can look at the career person, and because I've been both, I'll tell you that create an image that works in every environment. What does it mean? When I started my career, I was working in tobacco. So first of all, I worked in production in a media house, and I really always appreciate the people who trained me, and I give them a shout out, Oboshi Saikofi and Tyrone Adusu. I learned in that environment how production works, a lot of attention to detail, but it's not a space where you go wearing high heels and a suit. because once you're on the production floor, it's very difficult for you to present yourself like that. So you sometimes will show up in sneakers. Okay. What social life does is it actually helps you to reinforce some of the things about yourself. How do you even take your drinks? Are you someone who takes alcohol? Do you drink till people are wondering, okay, are you going to be drunk and disturbed? And it's all part of projecting your image. So your social life, who are you engaging with in that social environment? So all of those things are important. Whether you're a business person building your own business, or you are someone seeking to work in another environment, you have to have a consistent image that says, I can fit in this environment given any circumstance without compromising on that image. I hope your question is answered. Any other questions?
Okay, so the next person is asking that, how do I brand myself and make my image open doors for me?
Okay, awesome. So that brings us back to the selfie. So like I said, if you check on your phones right now, I can imagine there are tons of selfies. And that is how you have your private moment to say, this is how I'm looking and I like it. Now in the real world, you don't tell me what I should think when I see your image. So it means you have to package it well. Okay, now building your brand image means that every time you step out, and I remember my house mistress in boarding school for this, we used to have a prescription for clothing, and the clothing said you needed 8 cotton frocks. So one day someone was wearing a satin dress, and the house mistress said, the reason why we give you prescribed clothing is to help you to have a good dress sense. And at that time, nobody understood. We felt, oh, this is a little bit much. Why should I wear just 8 cotton frocks? And nobody uses the word frocks in this current world. So they are dresses or they are skirts, but 8 cotton frocks is what she meant. So someone comes in a satin dress, I think it was yellow, and she said, when you present yourself in this way, it's as if you are saying, here I come, look at me. So that is the consideration you have to have in your brain, that every time you present yourself, what have you communicated? And it is not the person receiving who has to decide. You have to package it. So that's why I said take the selfie, because at the end of this, I'll give you an exercise to take home and you work on it so that when you're building your brand, you have intentional thoughts around how to deliver a certain image or a certain brand. Because nobody knows what your vision is, and you can only get there by having the right packaging of yourself. And how do you do it? Your dress sense, I talked about it already. Your posture, your communication and language skills, your attitude, how you carry yourself. So let me just use a quick example, Daniel, if you give me a few seconds. So there's a craze around natural hair, and I had a conversation with someone who was insisting that natural hair is dynamic and she has to present herself the way she likes. And I said, no problem. You present yourself the way you like, but don't judge me for judging you, because how you present yourself, you communicate it. So how I receive it, you can't actually begin to control that as well. So those are some of the things I'd like to communicate, that don't take advantage of people's view of yourself by insisting that what you are saying is what they should see. Okay, any other questions?
Yes, so we have few questions, but there was an issue. So we would ask you to, they said after the selfie, after
Yes.
sending the selfie, they were not hearing you.
They were not hearing us.
Yeah, so if you can
Oh.
wrap up, just 2 minutes, wrap up all the
Okay.
things you said in the
All right.
last,
All right. Okay. That's sorry for the challenge. Do you hear me clearly now? But that's a while ago then. Okay. So so what we'd like to do then is let me just go to after they took their selfies, really. So we went through the images we saw of Michelle Obama, of Safwa, and then of the second lady, Samira Baumia, and we said you cannot be frozen in time with something that we see of you today. So I shared that the second lady actually was in a beauty pageant, and we should look at where she's transitioned from to where she is today, which means she's been building a self-image of herself. Same with Michelle Obama and Safwa. So when you have an image of yourself today, you can't be frozen in time. Then also image evolves. So like we said, when you see our favorite person, fellow Ghanaians, which is our favorite president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he has a consistent smile. What does that evoke for you? All right. We also talked about how to strategize and get your image, that there's a uniqueness about you that is simply yours, and you should actually know how to identify it. When you look in the mirror, when you take your selfie, what do you see that differentiates you? So if you walked into a room, for example, and everybody was wearing the same dress, how do people pick you out as uniquely you? What is your current image, and how do you use your environment to make sure that that image of yourself that you want to create is actually being projected the way you want it? Then you should have a destination. Where would you like to get to? And I heard William tell you that don't rush to get to a place because it takes work. So what would you like to be in the next few years? Would you like to be the entrepreneur who actually covers every country, like the way Coca-Cola can be seen in every village? You start building that kind of image from today, and you don't rush through it, because as you make mistakes, people will give you feedback. We also spoke about your considerations for building the image, your dress style, your physical posture, your communication and language skills, your attitude and your composure. And these are all important because what you communicate by yourself, sometimes without saying anything, you would have actually communicated several things about yourself. So we ask that you make sure that when you present yourself, your clothing, the way you stand, and all of that, communicate that you are someone to be taken seriously. Now, I use the example of someone who wore a satin dress on a sunny day, and my senior house mistress said, when you do those things, you actually communicate that it's like, here I come, look at me. So do you really just want to stand out for people to see you, or you have something to message? Is there a message that is strong enough? Now, the important thing about this time where we live in is, I'd like to go to the dress sense, your grooming of yourself, and how before you say a word, people can sum up who you are and take you seriously or not. And I said, sometimes you walk into a room and people are insisting that with women's liberation, emancipation, they should be who they are. The problem with that is, if you walk into a room and what I see are your long legs and a short skirt, forgive me, I may be focused on that, and before you present, I may not have a chance to look at you properly. So you always have to be careful that when you walk into the room, what is the focus of attention? So if you'd like, that's basically the summary. Then we talked about sexual harassment. I don't know whether you heard that, and bullying in the workplace. You have to present yourself in a way that allows people to know how to deal with you. And it is not often that we say this, but I'll wrap it up by saying all of these things don't mean that we don't make mistakes. You can make mistakes. The reason why we are offering you the mentorship program and bringing you on board is to help you navigate some of the road signs that are difficult in life, that you don't get to a place and realize that somebody could have helped you. And I'll wrap up with my story for you. During my career, yes. Have I made mistakes? Yes. One mistake I'll share with you, because there are young people here, ladies and gentlemen as well, is the challenge of emotional entanglement. So in your business, in your career, one of the things you have to be careful of is when something is moving from being objective to becoming subjective. What mistake did I make? I got myself emotionally entangled in the workplace. Immediately that happened, thankfully for me, I had a mentor. I didn't even know he was my mentor, but he had chosen to be my mentor. He started picking it up and started doing things to stop me from making mistakes. So by the time the mistake happened, I was in full control of how the outcomes would be. But I'll reassure you that one of the things about workplace emotional entanglement, what we call now, it's complicated. I have a lot of young people, so I know the word, is that it clouds your judgment. And as an aspiring entrepreneur, one of the things you don't want to do is to get into a space where people can't tell how you got a job or how you got your position in any organization. So please make sure that you keep yourself safe. Thank you.
As any student who has worked through the halls of this noble school can agree with me, Happy Kids School, an institution like no other, is a great symbol of excellence. From the nurturing of young minds to the grooming of today's leaders, it simply can't be imagined how impactful my educational journey from preschool to junior high school has been. Having tasted gold myself, I can testify that discipline as well as high moral standards are our hallmarks. Students who pass through Happy Kids School are assured of being diligent, assertive, creative, productive, and achieve total academic excellence. We are also nurtured morally to be God-fearing. I am Anil Feature Martin Alfred, a final year student of Happy Kids School and the winner of the Literacy Challenge 2021 held by CTFM.
Thank you very much, Madam Ellie, for the insightful presentation. We would like to have more, but we have time constraints. So we will go ahead and take our next presentation, which is from Mr. Henry Sampson. Mr. Henry Sampson is the COO, the Chief Operating Officer for DreamOval, and he is a co-founder as well. DreamOval is a software development company that makes life simple through tech-based innovation. As the CEO of DreamOval, he is responsible for the effective and efficient running of the company. He also oversees the software development processes and distribution to customers. This is a fun fact about him. He is passionate about Jesus and music that talks about him. So he's a Jesus person. He is also extremely excited about data and the science that creates intelligence with it. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Henry Sampson.
Hi, good morning. My name is Henry. As Daniel graciously introduced me earlier, it was wonderful to be here. I think that I was here last year. It was a lovely time, and I think that it's even more wonderful that we can reach more people digitally this time around. Right. So I'm speaking about leveraging technology for leadership and productivity. And one of the things that I like to do with my presentations and my any kind of discussion is to sort of define so that we're on the same wavelength when it comes to what do we mean when we say technology, number one. What do we mean when we say leadership? When we say productivity? What's are we referring to, so that when we are speaking, in case you have a different definition, we can operate at the same wavelength, right? So in what we're going to try and do is sort of, after defining these things, I like history, so we delve a bit into history and how these words have played out in history, and then we go into examples, things that you can practically do in the workplace as well, right? Since this is a mentorship session, so a quick introduction for me would be that, well, I'm a father as well. I also enjoy doing that. I'm husband and a father. Shout out to my wife, Mamsi, a lovely woman who makes me greater. This is for scoring points. Yeah. All right, so we spoke about DreamOval earlier. I think one of the things we like to talk a lot at DreamOval on is doing good, right? And we have a DreamOval Foundation that up to date has trained over 500,000 kids how to code, and lots of teachers how to use technology as well in their education and all. So we love that today we are working with Botner, a couple of partners, on a $2 million project around STEM, creating a challenge that allows kids to create some wonderful things with their teachers in school and win some wonderful prizes. So that we are excited about. So when we say technology, what do we mean? In itself, technology is a noun, obviously. The application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. A subcategory of that, machinery and equipment developed from the application of scientific knowledge, right? And the operating words there, a lot of times that comes up is scientific knowledge. And when we talk about scientific, in many ways, when we talk about scientific, we can start to think about the Socratic methods, right? So when we say Socratic methods, it's named after Socrates, and Socrates generally he created a form of asking a lot of questions, if you would put it that way. And so when we say scientific method today, we understand it as having observations and coming to some kind of empirical conclusions around those observations. And so when we say technology, a lot of time these days, people begin thinking about computers only. When we say technology, people start to think about computers only. And I mean, it's not just computers. I mean, computing is a kind or a type of technology, but it's not the only thing, right? And that's one of the things we'll talk about when we say technology. So sometimes we make it sound like it's only computing. So sometimes you need to broaden that understanding itself to be able to do more. One of the things I like to tell new developers or coders, engineers who join our business is that you always have to define your canvas, right? And you always have to define your canvas. And if you make the canvas of whatever you are doing much narrower, the set of solutions that you can come up with all of a sudden becomes very limited, right? So in computing, I mean, or on your computer, you have the machine itself. The machine will have something we call a BIOS, something that sits on the machine, and then it will then have something as well called the operating system that sits on top of the machine. Before now, you have your Word and your Excel and other things sitting on top of that, right? And on top of those things as well, you can build new solutions, or you can do new things, right? Depending on where you are starting from, the number of things you can do would be much wider, right? So if you are starting from the very machine, then your possibilities are almost endless. If you are starting from the operating system, you reduce that by still a bit wider. If you're starting from sort of a programming language which will sit on top of the operating system, you narrow it, right? And if you're starting from a program that's developed on top of a program that sits on top of the operating system, you narrow it further. So technology, widening your mind about technology is very important, right? So from there, if we say leadership, what do we mean by leadership, right? And leadership is generally, in terms of definition, is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. Wikipedia also talks about it's a research and also a practical skill, right? It encompasses the ability of an individual, group, or organization to lead, influence, or guide other individuals, teams, or entire organizations, right? So this is super important, right? Super important. When we talk about leadership, the definition I typically love to go with is one I saw in Star Trek. I've loved it to date, and it says that leadership is taking responsibility. It's about who's taking responsibility. So if we are in a particular place, we usually see the leaders by who's taking responsibility for what's happening in this place, right? And that's very vital as you go into the workplace, because who takes responsibility ultimately becomes the person who would be promoted to lead as well, right? And then productivity generally is defined as the volume of output over the volume of input. So if the amount of output you give is much more than what you put in, then you are very productive. The amount of output you give is much more than your input, then you are very productive. And the magnitudes that you do for that makes you very productive or less productive, right? And our goal here in this particular discussion is sort of how are we going to use technology to achieve tremendous productivity and also leadership, right? Being ahead, going ahead of others. How do we stay ahead of the curve? How are we being better, right? Because we are using technology in the right ways, right? In terms of very, very quick history, right? In 6 areas. In food, McDonald's used technology to go ahead. Nobody had a sense of how to do fast foods. McDonald's didn't only innovate around the technologies that you used to make the food, they also innovated around the processes and how the kitchens should be constructed to make sure that you can have a McDonald's that serves you a burger that fast. Military, all over the world, and for thousands of years, I think 1000 BC, the horse bit and became like a huge weapon, right? For which once the folks added a metal ending to a bow and an arrow, and they had a horse bit to be able to maneuver a horse, they started conquering so many people. So in military, the one with the best kind of technology most of the times will be the one that's most feared and the one that can conquer. In commerce, the same way, we see the likes of PayPal, we see Amazon. The kind of technology Amazon built is the reason why they were able to overtake Walmart. And Walmart was a huge conglomerate. It was huge. But then because Amazon had superior technology in terms of how they were doing warehousing and other things, it meant that they overtook. In the same way, health. There are reasons why people travel outside of Ghana, because there are places where they have better health tech than in Ghana, right? So because people then use technology better, they can deliver more. In entertainment, it's exactly the same way. The Star Wars franchise, for instance, every time it was released, broke box office records. Same for Avatar. And most of these movies pushed the edge of technology, how much you could actually do with technology in a movie or in entertainment. And that's what drove their sales so much. In education, exactly the same. Some of the best universities in the world, MITs and the rest, have some of the best technologies running the systems over there, right? And so typically in any kind of business, you'll be involved in planning, you'll be involved in execution, and then you'll be involved in assessment, right? Those are the 3 main things you'll be doing in any kind of business. And when you're in each part of that activity cycle, there are technologies you can use to make it look like you are a boss, you are ahead of everybody, right? These are technologies that we know, right? So in a practical sense, number 1, communication is one of the keyest things that we have in any organization, right? If you cannot communicate with each other, you cannot do any work. One of the key strategies in any kind of coup d'etat is to disrupt communication. Any kind of war, the first things that the adversary would do would be to break communication in the particular state they are trying to attack. This happened even in Ukraine recently. The attack vectors were basically communication first. Do not allow the person to be able to coordinate people, right? So coordination is huge in business. Communication software are huge, right? One of the biggest reasons why even mobile money and the rest are proliferated is because of communication technology, right? Because communication is important. You will need to know how to use chatting without letting it disrupt your work. You will need to know how to use conferencing without letting it disrupt your work. And not letting it disrupt your work, because you cannot be on chat the whole day, because that means that you are not doing work as well. So the mere fact that you have WhatsApp or you are using WhatsApp as a means of communication does not mean that all day you must be on WhatsApp, right? It must be seen as a critical tool, but cannot be used all the time to be effective. So for effective use, you typically need to measure its use so it's more effective, right? And so the tools here, you have Teams, you have Skype, you have Google Meet, you have Zoom, you have Hangout, you have Slack as well. For productivity software, and the things we call productivity software are generally things which allow us to do documentation, presentation, spreadsheeting, all sorts of stuff, right? And the big players there are Google, are Microsoft, and then for those who want a very, very cheap option, there's an Indian option called Zoho. Zoho does exactly what these guys do, but well, it comes at a much cheaper price. So, and it's a free account. Google has stopped giving free accounts. So if you do want a free account, I'll say head on to Zoho, and you would get most of the things that you are going to get from Google as well. But in terms of leadership, you have Microsoft and Google. Most likely the business you're going to go to are going to use these two, but they may also be using Zoho. The features are similar. In terms of online features, Google is most mature. In terms of desktop features, Microsoft is most mature. But you need to learn how to use them. Your friend and the biggest tool which propelled the computer industry is the spreadsheet. Excel, Google Sheets, whichever kind of sheet. You need to know how to use spreadsheets, because some of the most difficult problems you solve are easier solved with a spreadsheet, right? So I may be rushing a bit now, but one thing that I would not leave without is telling you about search engines, right? Search engines are crucial, and their ability to know how to search, the search terms to use to get the right kind of information from the internet is important. For instance, when you're searching, you typically would start from a general search term to a specific search term. So you do not start you don't start by writing an entire sentence into the search field. You start by distilling down into what is the general thing you are looking for, and then now looking for keywords that can let the search engine get more specific. So you start from a general search term to a more specific search term, and then when you so Google and Bing are similar, but I like to always introduce people to Wolfram Alpha. Right, so Wolfram Alpha is a different kind of search. They don't really call it search. It's a computational engine. So what it does is that when you give it if you give it a topic, it will sort of scrape the internet for information about that topic. Right. So Wolfram Alpha is a very powerful tool and something that you should always have at hand. For instance, when I do research, most of the time we do country analysis, right? So you want to do case studies and the rest. You want to understand population. You want to understand densities. If you put in Ghana, for instance, it will bring back everything about Ghana in terms of our distribution, regions, all that is going on, economic, everything about Ghana. It's in terms of the way it gives you the information, it's more powerful and more up to date, you would say, than even the Wikipedia will give you. It's computational, so it brings you only the computational thing, not the qualitative aspects per se. So it scrapes the internet for that. Something I'm adding this year in terms of discussion is automation, right? One way or the other, most businesses want to add automation, right? So 3 tools that would help you there. There are Airtables, Zapier, and Google App Scripts, right? I won't speak so much about them. It's an advanced topic. This is like if you desire that you would have those very low code tools that allow you to do certain things. Once you start doing a lot in the business, you realize that there are a lot of things that are repetitive. Repetitive things nobody likes to do. Mundane things nobody likes to do. Typically what you do is to automate to get that done much, much faster. And as always, I end the presentation with Shuhari. Shuhari is from martial arts, and basically it talks about the different levels of training or the different levels of maturity in martial arts. And when we are learning and in technology, very, very much so, we start number 1 by Shu. Shu means to copy. Copy what is there. Go online, get copy. Just copy. And that's how kids even learn. The first thing the kid will do is to copy their parents. They'll copy their society. They'll copy things around them. Then Ha means that you are beginning to innovate. You are beginning to become a master, right? So you have become a master of it. So whatever it is you are learning, you have become a master. Ha is important. Shu and ha, you must get. You may not necessarily get to re, but you must endeavor to have shu and have ha, right? In whatever you are copying, you must be seen as a great copier, and then you must be seen as a great master to teach how to copy, right? But re means transcendence, right? Going to a place of understanding so much of the art that you can create your own art, right? Being able to create from what you have learned, and that's re. And my prayer for you is that you get there. Thank you very much. If you have questions for me, I'm all ears.
So, the first question a participant is asking is that, with so many distractions online,
Yeah.
how do I use technology whilst I avoid the distractions?
An easy answer is discipline and turning it off, right? So, well, one of the values we have in our business is discipline, right? And there's a reason why the military is so effective, right, at delivering results, and most of that comes down to discipline. Because you can have a lot of talent without discipline, you really aren't getting anywhere, right? So I'll say the first thing is discipline. Number one has to be discipline. If you apportion a certain amount of time to do social, if you apportion a certain amount of time for chatting and all, you have to stick to it, right? And disciplining, there are phones that allow you to do that. Your screen time, manage your screen time and all that. And so discipline yourself, right? And I think that the other bits, at least for my kids, what we are trying to train them around is that these tools as well are productivity tools, right? So if my interest in my phone or my PC is not just watching videos, playing games, right, or being on social, it's actually getting stuff done that really interests me, then I realize that then when I do pick those devices, I want to do those things as well, not just have fun and just blow dopamine into my mind. But I think the key thing is discipline and turning it off, like just pressing the button.
As any student who has walked through the halls of this noble school can agree with me, Happy Kids School, an institution like no other, is a great symbol of excellence. From the nurturing of young minds to the grooming of today's leaders, it simply can't be imagined how impactful my educational journey from preschool to junior high school has been. Having tasted gold myself, I can testify that discipline as well as high moral standards are our hallmarks. Students who pass through Happy Kids School are assured of being diligent, assertive, creative, productive, and achieve total academic excellence. We are also nurtured morally to be God-fearing. I am Anifi Dramating Alfred, a final year student of Happy Kids School and the winner of the Literacy Challenge 2021 held by City FM.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sampson. I think you can give reactions, clappings in the chat box and keep your questions coming as well. We will have our last presentation by Madam Jemima Nate, who is the CEO of Happy Kids School. Madam Jemima is an experienced educationist with 30 years experience in school management. She is the founder and CEO of Happy Kids Schools in Accra here. Aside from education, she volunteers internationally for the training and guidance of young people. Madam Jemima is also the immediate past vice chairman of the organization of Scout movement, and her impact has gained her the nickname, I would say, Mama Africa. Madam Jemima, with a round of applause, let's welcome her.
I'm extremely happy because my colleagues have already started, told you a lot of what happens either for working in a corporate world or as an entrepreneur. But I want to call mine the very beginning of everything. And so my topic for you is identifying my career path, becoming a successful entrepreneur or a committed staff. And this is the reason why I call it in the beginning. Because then you need to take a decision as to what you want to do. And I want to throw myself back in my final year in school. And I guess most of you have got the same issue. In the final year, you start asking yourself questions. What do I really want to do? Do I want to work in a corporate world? Do I want to start my own business? What do I really want to do? And that stage is a real good stage of confusion. But you know what? It could still be solved, depending on how you are able to plan things together. And this planning doesn't just come offhand. It depends on what actually happens during your lifetime. And I want to talk about things like the course that you studied in school. It's a good factor for you to know what you want to do after school. Your childhood dreams. We've all dreamt before. And I know that most of you as kids may ask, when asked, what do you want to do in future? Oh, I want to be a pilot. I want to be a medical doctor. I want to do this, I want to do that. But then reality dawns on you. Or parental direction. Most young people are directed by their parents. This is what we want you to do. Right from primary school, they keep on knocking down in your head that this is what they want you to do. Or availability of a job. A friend might tell your father, look, there is vacancy in this institution, and as soon as your child completes school, we are going to make that job available to your child. We also have your passion, which is very important in one's life. What it is that you want to do in future is another thing that determines which path you want to take. Family business. Parents are getting old, they have to go on retirement, they need a young blood to take after them. And so they kind of convince you, influence you, and make you understand that you have to take over this family business. Or necessity. Necessity is another important thing that happens. And for me, I believe that I started my world of entrepreneurship out of necessity. I needed to take care of my daughter. I needed to stay at home and take care of my daughter. And out of that, I grew up this business. But you know, whatever it is, you would need to make your position very, very clear. So you want to go into the corporate world. That is what you decided to do. How do you do it? Of course, you need to apply for the position in the industry or sector where you have got your interest. You could also apply to companies that align with your training and your aspirations. Another thing that is very important as to finding your way and getting what you want to do is to be on social media. I mean, you are young people, I don't have much to say about that. You know where to get all these things. And I know that LinkedIn is one area where when you get yourself there, obviously you are going to find a lot of businesses, contacts, or anything that leads you to a job. But then you need to train yourself very importantly. Train yourself for interviews. If you want to get into the corporate world, you need to know what it means to go through an interview. And that is one key thing that a lot of young people may not be aware of. You may have all the dreams to work in a certain institution, but how do you jump that hurdle of an interview and getting appointed? And you have to be mentally and physically ready to start this position. And so that is it for the corporate world. Now let's move to the other side, which is what the corporate world. And I mentioned some of these points there, that out of necessity or perhaps taking up a business from your father or your mother or any other thing, you may end up as an entrepreneur. You need to have an idea. What is your vision? Where do you want to see yourself as somebody working for him or herself? What is your passion? Do you have the skills? It's very important for you to have the skills. Do you have a problem that has to be solved, or have you identified a problem that has to be solved? Whatever you are hoping to do, is it marketable? And that's one thing that sometimes we don't even think through. Is it marketable? Is this a very good time for your idea? Because you can have a lot of ideas, but then you need to have thought through it to make sure that it is marketable. And do you have a market for it? What is going to be the location of this business that you're talking about? Is it going to be a physical location, or it's going to be an online business? Where are your resources? Do you have mentors? Financially, are you sound? Are you able to run this business that you're talking about? Are you going to go in for partners? Or are people ready to support you? And are you disciplined? You cannot be an entrepreneur if you are not disciplined. You need discipline in every sphere of this journey of entrepreneurship. We also have to look at some of the challenges that comes with these things. So, like I said, whether you're in the corporate world, you want to join the corporate world, or you want to be an entrepreneur, there are things that you need to know that would come your way. And how do you deal with it? And so, for the corporate world, there could be, a toxic work environment. You could find it there. And so before you decide to go on this path, have all these things in mind. You can even have a terrible boss. It's possible. Are you going to fit in? Are you sure you can fit in into a corporate world? There are issues of bullies. It happens. You may get in there, and there may be other workers or colleagues who may not give you the peace of mind. Remuneration. Then you go to the entrepreneurial world. Know that there are also challenges there. There could be a high turnover of staff members when you start. You could be stagnated. Are you able to do everything by yourself? And you don't have to do things by yourself. You should be able to get other people to support you, other professionals. Somebody to help you with HR, an accountant, somebody to help you with PR, and all of these things. But in all these things, there is one important thing that you need to do. And it cuts across both the corporate world and the entrepreneurial world. You need to have a positive attitude. You need to have continuous training and learning. You must discipline yourself. Work ethics. Discipline yourself when it comes to finances. And you need to be compliant to statutory laws and regulations. You need to be the brand itself. If this is Jimamanate, I need to stand out for Happy Kids School. I need to talk about Happy Kids School. Now, and there's another way around. There are some of us, or there are other people who think that I could juggle between both. I could work in a corporate world and also be an entrepreneur. You know yourself. How well are you able to handle two things? Are you able to multitask? Are you focused? You need to consider all these factors before you decide as to what you do. But before I end, I want to put out a few points for you to consider. It is important that as you take decisions, just have a book. And for the next month, put down random ideas, your passion, your vision, your interest. Draw, write, doodle, or whatever you want to do. By the end of the month, you would notice a pattern that will inform you of where you want to lean towards, whether to join the corporate world or to be an entrepreneur. It is also important to know that you are a unique person. You are not supposed to be looking at what others are doing. Do things uniquely, your own way. You have to be flexible to navigate through opportunities, but be focused. You need to raise your bar without comparison to others. And also, like I said, raise your brand and to stay relevant in whatever field that you choose. Now let me say this. Passion is good. People say we are starting a business with passion. Passion is good. But passion with training is better. And passion with training and focus is the best. You also have to know that success happens, but it happens on a very long road. And so you don't have to give up. You need to be disciplined, focused, and committed to make productive decisions. Now, go out of your comfort zone. Get in there, and I believe you'll make it. Thank you, and good luck on this journey, either in the corporate world or as an entrepreneur.
I have some few questions for you from our participants. So one is asking, I usually feel worried that I'm not having the right future in perspective, but I try to keep my balance as I take one step at a time and focus on a goal at a time. Is that wrong? Is there something else I can do?
Well, it's not wrong. And like I said, at a certain point in time, you don't really even know where to fix yourself. But then based on your passion, based on your skills, based on your training, based on the experiences that you are gathering along the line, if you begin to put down your points, eventually everything would come to play. You are able to put everything together and then you know your direction. You know, personally, it took me time before I realized what I really wanted to do in life. I started school, I knew that I loved kids, yes, but I actually wanted to be a journalist. So after going to school to train as a teacher, I veered into, going to train as a journalist. But then when I came out, I realized that no, this is not what I want. What I want to do is to actually be with the kids. And so it takes some time. Everyone at a certain stage kind of wants to do everything. Everything just clouds in your mind and you think, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. But then you've got to know yourself, put your points together. Don't feel that what you're doing now is wrong. No, it is not wrong. What is important is you try to note everything down. Each experience is worth considering. And at the end of the day, you would know exactly what it is you want to do.
Madam Jemima, I think you've answered the next question because the person is asking how to, find their balance, and I think you've done that. They were asking how to find. Is there any way that they can deal with the constant changing of career? Is there any way to deal with that? Is it right, or how do they go about it?
And let me also add this to what I have been thinking. We have different generations. In our time, you hold on to one thing, you want to stick to it to the end of time. It is a different generation. You want to do something, you want to change. There are those who want to start a business, get it successful after 5 years, and sell it and move on. It's fine. How you feel, how you think is how you want to do things. The most important thing is be focused, do the best you can to be successful, leave room for yourself, knowing that I did it right and I want to move on. There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to move on, just move on. There's no big deal about that.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Jemima.
Thank you too. And I hope that these nuggets that I left would be helpful to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining this program. We're excited to have you. Please let's take note of this because we have an internship program. We will be going through your registration information and some participants will be selected for our internship program which we started last year. So be alert on that to hear from us. And you can follow us for more information on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and workplace, Seed Transformation Network Ghana chapter, Seed Transformation Network Ghana chapter, and you'll get updates on all our events. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Bye-bye.